to the number 97 Honda. It is Vieke who holds that position, but he's offline somewhat there. And Michael van der Mark looking menacing on his tail, using every inch of the circuit. Alex Lowe's trying to stick with him. Lowe's is now only one position ahead of Jonathan Ray, who's only 0.4 of a second back. Here goes van der Mark, so much more confidence to run that tighter line through 15 and 16. And van der Mark moves clear now into 6th place. Vieke into 7th. And Jonathan Ray menacing on the tail of Alex Lowe's on this final lap. Teammate on teammate battle for KRT pride. What little pride there is for KRT in what has been seconds down the road. The domination continues in 2023. Unbeaten this season so far. Alvaro Bautista takes his first Ducati victory here in Mandalika. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu is beaten for the first time here since 2021. Andrea Locatelli is home for third, another podium for him, and the race to the line between the two KRT men for 9th. Mottle Indonesian round getting underway. A little bit of lift off the line from Alvaro Bautista, but he's going to pull immediately alongside Andrea Locatelli, and one for a rocket ship getaway from Axel Bassani as well. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu defends the line. That allows Bassani to slip between the two. Down goes Michael Ruben Rinaldi from 4th position in the early stages. Rinaldi with a heavy spin into turn 1. Devastation for him. He had a disastrous race 1 in Phillip Island last time out, and race 1's going to end in disaster here in Mandalika as well. Promoted up into 4th position now is Danilo Petrucci, so that's a great start for him from 7th position on the grid. Jonathan Ray hasn't had the best of getaways. He's still down in 8th position, in fact make that 9th because Scott Redding has got through on him as well. So it's Razgatlıoğlu who leads, it's Bautista in 2nd, Bassani as aggressive as ever in the early stages, Danilo Petrucci in 4th position, and 3 Ducatis up there in the top 4 places. Andrea Locatelli mugged in the early running.
Yeah, 3 up in the 4, and then you had Rinaldi in the midst of that as well. So off the line we saw once again just how good the Ducati is in that acceleration zone into turn 1. Bassani coming from 6th on the grid, almost into P2 at one stage, so that does give you a good indication of where that V4R is.
Andrea Locatelli for only the 2nd time in his Superbike World Championship career, qualifying up on the front row of the grid, and for the 2nd time here in Mandalika as well. Unfortunately for him, he's robbed right from the off. He ends up down in 5th position under some pressure from Alex Lowe's as he also tries to hunt down Danilo Petrucci. A strong start from Petrucci on the number 9. The big story though of this opening lap has got to be that retirement for Michael Ruben Rinaldi, who stalks his way through the gravel trap in frustration.
Super stuff from Xavi Vierge as well there on the number 97 on the Honda to come through from 13th on the grid up into the top 10 and 7th spot. Good effort from him on the 97.
Benefiting from some of the chaos around him as well. Vierge getting up into 7th position. He's got Jonathan Ray right behind him now for 8th, and Ray almost alongside to try and make another pass early on.
Yeah, Petrucci looks like he's bottlenecking all this group now as well, so Locatelli needs to make that progress pretty quickly on the 55 Yamaha.
And as Danilo Petrucci holds back Andrea Locatelli, that's enabling Axel Bassani to escape away. 0.6 of a second is now the gap behind Bassani in those podium positions. Bassani though doesn't look to have the pace to go with Bautista, and Bautista, after a calm and cautious opening lap, is now starting to give some real chase to Toprak Razgatlıoğlu, your race leader. We're on board now with Bautista as they head towards turn number 10. Toprak's going to be good enough on the brakes through there, but Bautista could be set to menace down this 723-metre start-finish straight at the beginning of lap 3.
Yeah, the most important corner on the track right now for Toprak is the last corner. Try and get your exit at that perfect to try and stretch out as much of a lead over Bautista as you can, but as it is right now, Alvaro doing a good job just to keep that pressure on. Bassani's coming into that as well. We know that Alvaro's out there on the X tyre, so he's got that softer rubber in this early stage.
And Jonathan Ray now through on Xavi Vierge for 7th position. He'd already dispatched Scott Redding. A bit of a moment there in the background of the shots there for one of the BMWs as Jonathan Ray sits in 7th position, then Vierge behind him in 8th, then it's Scott Redding in 9th position, and Garrett Gerloff rounding out your top 10 as things stand. And we see on to the start-finish straight then at the beginning of lap number 3. Razgatlıoğlu with Bautista almost alongside him already. Thankfully for Toprak, it's the heaviest braking zone on the circuit at the end of that start-finish straight, and that allows him to hold on at the head of the field.
Yeah, and he has to do this for 21 laps as well, don't forget, because Alvaro is going to get opportunities to get alongside Toprak, and that's where Toprak on the 54 out in front has to be perfect all the time. Alvaro only needs to make the move once.
Well, Toprak might appreciate it here if Axel Bassani shakes things up with Alvaro Bautista. That might give him a little bit more breathing room, and we know Bassani's never shy of trying to make an overtaking manoeuvre if the opportunity presents itself.
Toprak needs his teammate Locatelli in P5 to make the move on Petrucci. Last time around it was Lockett that was the fastest rider in the group, so he needs to come through and then see if he's able to offer some sort of support to his teammate.
Petrucci putting in a strong ride though as well in 4th position. He's bridged the gap now. Remember, it was up at something like 0.8 of a second, and he's now narrowed it to Axel Bassani. So these riders are going in a train. Does perhaps suggest that Toprak Razgatlıoğlu is now beginning to bottle him up slightly behind him.
Yeah, well, we know that Toprak out there with that 0 in these early stages with the harder tyre, probably not able to get that same performance as what Bautista can do, but certainly for Toprak it's about making sure you can stay at the front. He's not going to mind too much as long as he's able to keep himself in a position to defend into turn 1, but you can see for Toprak there having to really run into that last corner and try and carry as much speed as possible.
Yamahas and Ducatis then locking out the top 5 positions. Then it's the first of the Kawasaki's with Lowe's and then Ray, and then the first Honda of Yakke, the first BMW of Reading. A clear pecking order among manufacturers, and at the moment it looks as though Ducati have got the edge on Yamaha as well. Bautista not close enough to strike at the start of lap number 4, and Razgatlıoğlu it is still who leads. From Bautista 2nd, Bassani 3rd, Petrucci in 4th, and then his teammate Locatelli, Razgatlıoğlu's teammate, that is Locatelli, in 5th position.
Yeah, Jonathan Ray down in P7, he's the fastest rider on the track, the new fastest lap. He's by 0.4 of a second faster than Toprak, so like you said, Alex, Toprak just building himself into this race.
Well, Toprak may also be thinking about trying to conserve some tyre life, and Jonathan Ray will be thinking about the long game. I can tell you that Ray's just got through on Alex Lowe, that'll be for 6th position, but this is what happened in the early stages. Watch the number 21 of Michael Rinaldi.
Yeah, Rinaldi just comes in, tags the back of Bassani there, and unfortunately for Ducati, 4 Ducatis into the one corner don't really go too well, and Rinaldi just gets caught out.
Yes, he's gone to the inside to try and make the pass, and he can't quite slot between the two of them, and Rinaldi is out of the action as early as turn number 1. 19 riders still going in race 1. Lap 4 then of 21, and Andrea Locatelli is ahead of Danilo Petrucci. We return to Andrea Locatelli, and he is up in 4th position now, so Petrucci pushed back to 5th, and a bit of gap has emerged behind the top 3 as well. So Axel Bassani still right on the tail of Alvaro Bautista, but Locatelli is clear of Petrucci.
Yeah, you can see for Petrucci on the number 9 machine there, going to come under pressure from the Kawasaki's or Ray and Lowe's.
So Jonathan Ray 6th position, Alex Lowe's in 7th, Yakke in 8th, so still the top 8 all covered by just 2 seconds. A competitive start to this race as Bautista again, every time he comes off that final turn he looks menacing down the start-finish straight. Andrea Locatelli already through on Danilo Petrucci. Jonathan Ray is the next to have a go.
And for Ray recovering from that grid penalty, having been given a 3-place penalty after irresponsible riding in the Super Bowl session, so trying to come through as much as he can, but we know it's in the second half of the race that the Kawasaki rider was struggling in yesterday's longer runs with that front tyre, so in these early stages, if he can make moves, he's got to do it.
Far from disastrous for Alex Lowe to slip behind his teammate Jonathan Ray either, because it means that he can now use him as a yardstick and a benchmark and try and go with him, because Ray is going to attack Petrucci for 5th position. Make no mistake about that, he's going to try and do it under braking here in towards turn number 10. He's got to get it stopped on the racing line. It's very dirty off that racing line, and Ray has done well to get it stopped in time. So Jonathan Ray making good progress, and now he's up into P5.
Yeah, T10 not an easy place to make the move around here. You can see for Petrucci, a little bit of a sitting duck right now, maybe for Alex Lowe as well. This is the section of the track the Kawasaki rider has been pretty strong and all the way through this weekend.
We have seen Petrucci, although riding strongly in the early stages, bunching up the riders behind him on that Barney Ducati. Jonathan Ray clear of him. Alex Lowe will know that he needs to get through swiftly to avoid becoming tailed off from his teammate Jonathan Ray. They come through turns 15 and 16, and Alvaro Bautista hitting the front on Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. Bautista is through and down the start-finish straight. That should be his opportunity now to try and escape away. What can Bassani do from 3rd position as well? Razgatlıoğlu is going to try and be as deep as he can on the brakes in towards turn number 1, but I think that's the cork now out of the bottle, and Alvaro Bautista will be optimistic of going away to become Ducati's first race winner here in Mandalika.
Yeah, let's see what Toprak can do from T2 all the way through to T10, see if he's able to get close enough to Alvaro and use the strengths of his bike to be able to give himself an opportunity to make a block pass. You can see here, he has caught right onto the backing through those first couple of corners. Toprak just a lot faster in this section, but for Bautista, you can see the move here through the never-ending right-handers at the end of the lap, and just puts his bike down there, and Toprak's got no choice but to just see that position.
That's great riding though from Bautista, because Toprak would not have been expecting the move there,
Bassani.
and Bautista has caught him by surprise, and here comes Axel Bassani to make the pass on Toprak Razgatlıoğlu, this one in towards turn 10. So the 2 race-leading Ducatis, Bautista and Bassani, both getting through in consecutive laps to relegate Razgatlıoğlu down to 3rd.
Yeah, Alvaro's out there on the X tyre. Bassani's out there on the same tyre as the other riders in this group, but for Toprak, he can't afford to have Bassani in front of him. He can't give Bautista that edge.
And this is what I was talking about previously in terms of that pecking order among the manufacturers, because you've got Ducati's 1 and 2, Bautista and Bassani. You've got Yamaha's 3 and 4, Razgatlıoğlu and Locatelli, and Kawasaki's 5 and 6, Ray and Lowe's. Petrucci has slipped now behind Alex Lowe's and down into 7th place.
Yeah, at the back of the group, Xavi Vierge able to use that Honda with the X tyre, so himself and Bautista top and tail in this group with the softest tyre, and Xavi doing a good job to run in P8 with that tyre.
Yeah, Scott Redding and Michael van der Mark somewhat tailed off now, 1.5 seconds down further back. So Jonathan Ray clambers over the tail of Andrea Locatelli. Bit of a moment for Locatelli, underbraking in towards turn 1, but he holds on for 4th position for the moment. Alvaro Bautista says that now is the time to really go for it. Sets a new personal best lap on lap number 6, 1 minute 33.5. He's 6/10 of a second already ahead of Axel Bassani behind him.
Yeah, the problem for Toprak in P3 is that all the riders in this group were faster than the last lap, and even the half lap before that when he was under pressure. So for Toprak, this is where he needs to dig in, see if he's got something underneath him to be able to fight back. Alvaro out there with the soft tyre, he's going to be able to take full advantage of that. Shouldn't suffer too much tyre wear as well. We've always seen quite strong.
Toprak diving down the inside of Axel Bassani in towards turn number 10. So where Bassani himself made a pass a lap ago, Razgatlıoğlu is able to respond. But the more these fight it out over 2nd, 3rd, 4th positions, the more they will slip and become a group behind Bautista, who is now 8/10 of a second up at the head of the field.
Yeah, the one thing is on this lap so far, Toprak's pulled back 3/10 of a second, so that's what he needs to do, and he needs to try and make sure that his teammate Locatelli can come through on Bassani as well and give himself a chance of someone just to put himself between one of the Ducatis.
Jonathan Ray not looking particularly convincing on this lap 7 either. He's got Alex Lowe's for company right behind him. Could be a question of who's conserved their tyres front and rear in the closing stages as to who is able to make late progress. We saw the battle last time out in Phillip Island was for 4th position down. Well, at the moment it looks like it's right at the front of the field, but we'll wait and see who's got the tyre life in the second half of this race as well.
New fastest lap of the race for Alvaro Bautista, but the good news for Toprak Razgatlıoğlu fans is Toprak was only a few thousand slower, and that was
down on Ray on lap 19. There's a chance that Ray could end up outside of the top 10 positions altogether. This is turning into a disaster for him. Alex Lowe's, since being passed by Xavi Vierge, has managed to consolidate that 7th position, but Michael van der Mark is really beginning to hunt him down. Petrucci now isolated in 5th position. Here goes Egerter on Jonathan Ray. Well, he left it till the last lap to pass him in Phillip Island. He's going to pass him on lap 19 here, but he gets out onto the curve and Jonathan Ray is able to swiftly respond.
Look at van der Mark though, once again. He's just jumped onto the back of that group in front, and maybe for Xavi Vierge now with that X tyre, maybe suffering a little bit, so van der Mark still got a chance of the P6 here.
Yeah, okay, still faster than Lowe's last lap around, but on this lap, Alex Lowe's has begun to make the progress, and Michael van der Mark now catching the pair of them. We've got a good battle on our hands for 6th position. Still a fight for 9th as well between Ray and Egerter. Ray still defending it as Egerter swarms around the back of them, making their way through 15 and 16. This is swiftly turning into a group of 5 riders in the closing stages with only 2 laps to go. Bautista leads it by 5 seconds over Razgatlıoğlu. Locatelli looking safe in 3rd, only a second behind his teammate. Bassani 2 seconds back in 4th. Petrucci isolated in 5th. The race is for 6th place down.
Yeah, the race is for 6th down. Xavi Vierge doing a really good job in 97 right now, but at mid-34, so his pace has fallen off quite a bit. Maybe that X tyre just starting to feel the strain. We know the Kawasaki of Jonathan Ray really struggling with that front tyre, and we saw Alex Lowe's struggling a little bit to maintain his pace as well, so similar issue for him in all likelihood. But for Kawasaki rider, he's trying to hold off Michael van der Mark, the number 60. He's been coming like a train, and he's going to try and come through into P7.
Yes, position 6 and 7 is where the action is on this penultimate lap, with Xavi Vierge defending against Alex Lowe's and Michael van der Mark trying to pass the pair of them. Jonathan Ray still ahead of Dominic Egerter. Here's the move from Michael van der Mark. Then that was a matter of time on Alex Lowe's, and that's for 7th position. And next in line for Michael van der Mark, he has every chance of getting through on Xavi Vierge for 6th position as well. That really would be an excellent effort from Michael van der Mark.
Yeah, and Lowe's needs to stick with van der Mark and see if he's able to follow him through on Xavi as well.
Yes, Lowe's has been stuck behind Vierge for some laps now since losing the position to the number 97 Honda. It is Vierge who holds that position, but he's offline somewhat there. And Michael van der Mark looking menacing on his tail, using every inch inch of the circuit. Alex Lowe's trying to stick with him. Lowe's is now only one position ahead of Jonathan Rea, who's only 0.4 of a second back. Here goes Van der Mark, so much more confidence to run that tighter line through 15 and 16, and Van der Mark moves clear now into 6th place, Vierke into 7th, and Jonathan Rea menacing on the tail of Alex Lowe's on this final lap. Teammate on teammate battle for KRT pride. What little pride there is for KRT in what has been a miserable race for them. Rea already moving to the inside of Alex Lowe's in towards turn number 1, wasting no time on the final lap to duff off his teammate, and the pair of them now will be passed by Dominic Egerter, and that shows you what Jonathan Rea's target was in this race. Make sure he beats his teammate. He's not going to gain a position through that move because Dominic Egerter's got through on him for 8th position, and once again Egerter making progress on the final lap at Rea's expense.
Yeah, and Lowe's needs to get as close as he can to try and attack into T10. But you can see for Rea, we saw it with Van der Mark, we've seen it there with that move there as well. All he's thinking about is the rider in front of him, and he's just trying to hold on to anything he can. Lowe's needs to get himself close enough here to try and attack into 10.
I don't think that move's going to go down too well back in the KRT pit boxes after this race, because Jonathan Rea was excessively ambitious there in towards turn number 1, and he must have known that he was going to impede his teammate Alex Lowe's, and it's cost both of them a position. Well, Alex Lowe's loses 2, of course, down from 8th into 10th place. Lowe's may well attempt to recover here in the closing stages. The gap is nothing between the two of them. Back to the front of the field because Bautista is making his way through the final 2 turns. It is going to be Alvaro Bautista home to win it once again. Razgatlıoğlu 5 seconds down the road. The domination continues in 2023. Unbeaten this season so far. Alvaro Bautista takes his first Ducati victory here in Mandalika. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu is beaten for the first time here since 2021. Andrea Locatelli is home for 3rd, another podium for him, and the race to the line between the 2 KRT men for 9th position. Jonathan Rea just about holds on ahead of Alex Lowe.